Hi everyone. Welcome to another edition of Astrology Now with Babula Clement and myself, Sheryl Gottschall. And today we are talking about the full moon in Capricorn and a whole lot of other things, because this is an interesting full moon, isn't it, Babula, where it's sort of coming on the back of the Cancerian winter solstice that we've just had.
Yeah.
So we've got that sort of combined energy going on, at least initially around the full moon. So why don't you start off and take it away from there?
Okay. Yes, it is. It's a very, it's been a very potent 3 weeks. And I'm sure most people listening to this are going to be nodding their heads and going, yes. Like, it's been a bit of a wild ride in the last few weeks with such a powerful emphasis on all that Gemini energy with the eclipse and then the solstice as the sun left Gemini, went into Cancer. Mercury retrograde right on the eclipse, Saturn square Uranus. It's been big. So now, of course, the sun's in Cancer, which is a water sign, of course, and Cancer's all about it's sort of the nurturing principle, basically. It's a sign where after all that Gemini mental activity and, dashing backwards and forwards and around and a lot of movement, in Cancer, it's not a stationary kind of energy. It's quite a dynamic cardinal sign, but we're back in the realm of water, of feeling, of nurturing, of connection to family and loved ones. We were just chatting about that. And, I've been through a big journey with my daughter and her little ones with, a big house, a big change of life, so much happening, and you with yours, and things are going on in families and so on. But an interesting something you said before, it's just made me remember that I've had a few conversations with friends online who know me and kind of know what's been going on, and this reference to mama, mama bear, that mama bear energy, when your child or grandchild is in need, mama bear, she's just up and ready for action. So Cancer is actually a cardinal sign of action.
Yeah. Well, I've had that experience myself.
That's right. You just like, I'm needed. I'm there.
Yeah, it's like wedding week for my daughter, and with the lockdown in Sydney, and a lot of important people can't make it to the wedding in Brisbane, and daughter rings up and it's like, Mom, upset and distraught. Super mother's over there. Boom, boom, boom.
That's right. My child needs me. She's in tears. That's right. That's right. And I mean, my daughter did an amazing job, but her 2 little ones were sick with heavy colds, and so I spent a few nights there, and nobody got any sleep. But you just do it. You just respond because there is a need, and that's Cancer. It's like people often think, oh, it's a bit weak and wishy-washy and wimpy and a bit. It's actually not. It's quite strong energy. It's but it's responding from an emotional place, from a feeling place of wanting to nurture, support, provide sustenance, love, nourishment, help. It's like the embracing arms of the mother. When the child or the grandchild has a need, you just, mother wraps her arms around them to that. And then, so during the month of Cancer, of course, the moon will come into the opposition period for those 2.5 days when it's in Capricorn, and that forms the full moon, of course, in Capricorn in the month of Cancer. So that full moon is occurring on the east coast of Australia on the 25th of June, and the precise time for those who like such information on the east coast is 4:39 a.m. So it's in the early morning, and the moon will be at 3 degrees of Capricorn, opposite the sun at 3 degrees of Cancer. So yes, we've literally just had the solstice. So it's coming right off the end of that important solstice point when the sun's at 0 of Cancer. Yes, and I was literally watching this guy talking to this couple in their homestead kitchen, and for years they've been developing a lifestyle that's completely self-sustainable. And he was calling her kitchen like a food laboratory. You know, she like it's all, and it was all about her passion to want to get people back to learning how to take care of themselves without depending on governments and shops and the big chain stores for food and everything. Now, I know that's not realistic for every one of us to do that, but I so believe in that, you know, you know, preserving food, how all the different ways you can preserve food, think ahead, plan ahead, store in bulk, grow your own food, you know, because our older generations, I remember my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents who I knew when I was little, that's what they did.
Yeah.
They, you know, they weren't dependent on governments and big stores to survive. They knew how to do it all themselves. And that to me is it's such a Cancer Capricorn theme, you know, Cancer, how to take care of yourself, how to create a home, a house, create, you know, grow food, preserve food, provide for the family. Capricorn is incredibly pragmatic, practical. You get organized. And it's a sign that I think's got a lot to do with actually facing reality and learning how to do without certain things and learning how to survive when things get tough. And that might be something we're all going to be facing in, you know, the months and years ahead for a while.
So if you just mentioned paring down, so would you expect, say, people who live a minimalist lifestyle tend to be Capricornian?
Yes, very often. Very often, and particularly if there's some Virgo in there as well, you know, like that in Capricorn, there's that urge to strip things back and get back to the essentials.
Yes, yeah.
You
And I
know?
was thinking too, with that, we were talking earlier about the Cancer Capricorn connection. Cancer is about your origins, your family. But Capricorn sort of motivates us more about who we want to become.
Yes.
You know, so we go from that who we came into the world as and we were surrounded by when we were younger, and that Saturnian energy in Capricorn is like drives us to, or says, well, who do you want to be now? You know.
Yes, and Capricorn sort of takes us out into the world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So Cancer is like our family of origin, where we came from, our childhood, and were we nurtured or not, and to what degree we were and weren't. And Capricorn is that natural instinct. You just got to watch it in young children. You watch young Capricorn children, they're already thinking ahead about what career path they're going to follow, what steps they'll need to take to get there, or whether they're going to go into a profession or whether they're going to learn a trade, and they're already kind of figuring out, you know, how they will make that happen.
Yeah, and I just want to make one thing clear for people too, is that we're talking about Capricorn, but it relates to people who have a very strong Capricorn placement, isn't it? So you don't have to actually have Sun in Capricorn to be like this, because
Yes.
I have some friends who aren't Capricorn, but they have it in the first house, and
Yes.
it's really, really strong in them. And I can see, you know, they pare things down, and they're even down to the colors they wear. And actually, that's why I'm wearing these colors today, because Capricorn goes for the, you know, it's like black and white, gray, you know, that sort of.
Yes.
And even if you put some of that, particularly black, but if you put black in some colors, so you'll come out with a dark navy or a dark magenta, a dark violet, they tend to go for the darker colors.
Yes.
And and I said to one friend, yeah, why are you always wearing black and white? Because I normally am the opposite. I wear lots of color. And she said, I don't have to think about things. It's just practical. I can just put it on. I just know that this is what you do in the day. And, you know, and I can
Right. And everything goes with everything.
Yes, exactly. It's just so practical, she said.
That's right. There's a certain sort of efficiency in that.
Yes, absolutely.
That's and a simplicity. That's right. And then you go forth out into the world and get on with things. You know, the career, the job, the purpose. And you know, I think as I say that, another to me, a very significant thing about Capricorn, you know, as we come into this Capricorn full moon, is I think Capricorn, a lot of Capricorns I've met have a very strong sense of mission and purpose. And often if I say to them something like that, you go, oh yes, I know I'm here and I've got a job to do and there's a mission and a purpose for my being here, or my mission in life is to accomplish . And so it's quite a serious sign. And I mean, they can have a wicked sense of humor. Let me just say that, please, because a lot of Capricorns go, oh, I'm sick of being called serious. But they do have a wicked sense of humor. But it is quite a serious, sometimes even a bit dour or dour, as the Scots say, energy. It can be a bit prone to depression. It has a certain weightiness about it. It's not a frivolous sign.
No, and it can be quite sober too.
Sober. Very kind of focused, deliberate, pragmatic. At best, this when this full moon is on, I think it's an opportunity for us all for those couple of days to get focused, to get clear, to get real, to get organized, to be pragmatic, to be realistic, to face things as they are head on. Capricorn, like this is how things are. Get on with it. So, frills, there's no messing about. It's very much like that. And I always like who just want fun and color and think, oh God, Capricorn's a bit serious and boring, but actually it's got real purpose to it.
Yeah, and I like to look at the symbols of these signs. Excuse me, with the with the goat. You think of a goat. Have you ever watched a goat? They're very focused. They get on with it. They're going to get through that fence, that gate, and they're going to keep on going until they get through, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a sense of endurance and consistency.
And toughness. They will eat anything and everything. They will eat through blackberry bramble bushes happily. Extraordinary. And I'm sure you've seen the images online and in various places and on the nature documentaries of goats climbing almost vertical cliff faces and rocks and mountains. This is the sign that's symbolized by the mountain goat, and the symbol even looks a bit like a mountain.
So is courage a key word for it then?
I would say probably more determination.
Determination, yeah.
So determined and the focus.
Very much.
Just move aside. This is where I'm going. Yeah. And again, cardinal sign, the 4 cardinals, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn. They all in their own particular way, in their different elements, have quite a strong sense of kind of deliberate focus and sense of direction. So Capricorn is earth, Cancer is water, and they're different, of course. And if someone stands in the circle in Cancer and is all kind of soft and feeling and nurturing and just wants lovely cushions and a nice cup of tea and a piece of cake and chilled, I'm just creating a picture here. It's not all that, and looks over a Capricorn from Cancer. Capricorn can look a bit tough and stern and a bit unfeeling, and a bit scary possibly. It's a little bit like a child looking at this big, serious adult. And then from Capricorn looking at Cancer, not looking down, perhaps from a great height on top of the mountain. From Capricorn, Cancer can look all a bit sort of soft and wimpy and, wants to kind of, come on, pull yourself together and get on with it. So, so that polarity will be playing out at the full moon, oh, I don't want to go to work today. I just want to stay home under the doona.
Yes. So true.
I call Cancer often the sign of doona therapy, and in the southern hemisphere, of course, Cancer is winter.
Yes.
I don't really want to go out that much.
Yeah,
stay home.
Especially on a day like today where it's completely
and eat hot soup, and bake a cake or something.
So you want to nurture yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, and look after yourself and use kid gloves on yourself and self-protection and nurturing and yes. And it's not just about what we put in our body. It could be, I just need to veg out and binge watch something, or I need some soul food. I
That's
I
right.
just want to sit here quietly in front of the fire and read a good book that touches me deeply. That's
Exactly. And just be quiet. And, I actually said to my daughter, now everything's finally moved into the new place. We both worked really hard to set up all the basics so the house functions. And I said, it'd be really good if you could just give yourself a break now and just hang out on the couch with the babies and just have a big cuddle fest. You all really need it, to just come back and, and that's the Cancerian energy. She's done all the hard work with Capricorn of making all this happen.
Yes.
So that's the harmony of this polarity. It's really acknowledging both. Yes, sometimes there's just things we have to do, and then we need to nurture ourselves. At the end of a hard day of moving house or whatever, get in the hot tub and just soak with some nice oils and some lovely music. That balance.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. Otherwise we can burn out.
Absolutely. And it all just gets too hard.
Mm.
So I think, during the full moon, there might be some parts of that where people might feel like, oh God, this does feel too hard. It might feel a bit heavy going, or there might be a lot of demands and pressures and responsibilities that are pushing up against us. That can happen too.
Oh, I just feel tired just talking about it.
I think we're all a bit exhausted.
Heavily.
Yeah, I know. It's been a bit exhausting these last few weeks. And it's everywhere. I'm hearing it from all around me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, take us out of that energy, Babula.
Okay.
What else is coming up? Oh, one more thing.
Well, just only one more little thing I want to say about this full moon. Interestingly, unlike a lot of other full and new moons we've had for ages now, this one doesn't have any big, strong, hard aspects to it from other planets. It's quite a simple full moon, Cancer, Capricorn, with a lovely sextile trine to Jupiter in Pisces. So it is, to me, an invitation to just, if we can, make some space for some downtime or quality time, as people like to say. Capricorn is like quality time. Okay, well, let's make sure we make time, family or for myself or whatever, to just come together, de-stress a bit from everything that's happened recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So onward we press through the month. What's next?
No. Well, good news. Mercury's now direct again. Boy, that was one doozy Mercury retrograde.
It sure was.
It sure was. I mean, he's still got a way to go to fully come out of it, but he has turned direct. And the reason it was so full on was because it actually happened during the eclipse. So it was a Mercury retrograde eclipse who just mutually magnified and intensified each other. It was phenomenal. Plus there were other things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So yes. So he's still got a way to go before he finally comes out of Gemini and goes into Cancer on the 12th of July. So he's now going to complete this long journey through Gemini, but at least now he's moving in forward motion. And I remember I actually felt it that day. I'd forgotten he was turning direct that day. And at the end of the day, I thought, well, today's felt a bit smoother. It felt like a few things kind of fell into place. And I went, he's just turned direct today. I could feel.
Curious how you can feel the energy, isn't it?
Yeah, I felt like something had loosened up and I went, oh, yeah. So that was good. Oh, okay. So the next piece is that, like now and on this full moon, but precisely on the 26th, the day after, but Neptune will be stationary or is now stationary and will begin to turn retrograde. So these slow moving outer planets, when they change direction, they're really stationary for a good week or 10 days or so, which means they're pretty much at a standstill because they move so slowly. And so technically on the 26th, the day after the full moon, he's actually begins that slow retrograde motion for about 5 months or so. So we are in a Neptunian period, which I think supports tremendously what we were just saying about the full moon. Like, this is not a time to push. Like, makes me think of that Capricorn energy. Just do what's essential. Just do the basics that you need to do. Take some time out, Neptune, Cancer.
If you can.
If you can, if that's available to you, if that's possible, and even if there's a lot of pressure and time demands and things, see what you can just eliminate and just go, I don't really need to do that, and that, and that. I can do them another time, or maybe I don't even really need to do them at all.
Yeah. People do tend to push themselves when they've got to get something done, of course, but with myself, I usually find that I have a lot to do often. So I tend to do that paring down, like you said before, and go, do I really need to do this? Am I just making it too complicated for myself?
Yeah.
Can I just simplify and eliminate some stress, that sort of thing? Yeah. And I don't feel so much pressure, or don't feel so overwhelmed.
That's right. And I do that to myself too. I'm often good at just doing too much and having to stop. I've noticed over the years, Capricorns are very good at this. If they have a deadline to prepare something or have something done by, I don't know, whatever dates, let's say the 10th, they've actually completed it by the 8th.
Yes, yeah.
Very good at kind of organising and scheduling their time and their priorities and planning ahead.
Yeah, and I find they're really late to something too. If they're going to be anything,
never late.
They're ready to go like 15 minutes before they have to actually be there.
That's
that sort
right.
of thing. Yeah, they're not tardy.
No, and so I could learn more about that, about kind of planning ahead a bit instead of leaving too many things, pushing it right up to the moment. So yes, Neptune, Neptune, the god of the seas, the ruler of Pisces, stationary, turning retrograde in Pisces. And one more thing about that's really important. I know people are very tired, overwhelmed, feeling a bit exhausted. This is an important time to rest. Water is super helpful. Baths, lakes, rivers, the sea. Don't have to get in it if it's cold. Just walk by it, just time out, and maybe paying attention to our dreams. Because when a planet is stationary, that energy is very present. Presence really is felt. And Neptune's all about feeling. There's nothing of the mind going on here. This is all feeling, intuition, imagination, soul. So if we on this full moon, this Cancer Capricorn full moon with Neptune retrograde, can really honor that in whatever way we're able to. My bathtub's getting a bit of a workout at the moment, which is lovely. And just make time for a bit more sleep. We're right in the solstice. It's the shortest days of the year. We're dead in the heart of winter. This is the time in nature for rest and quiet. We're just not very good at it in this modern world.
Yeah.
We've forgotten how to do that.
Yeah. And this is the time in the seasons when, with winter in the southern hemisphere in Australia, for us, where the seeds are planted and we're growing veggies, so we're putting seeds in for the season coming up. And so it's a time of gestation.
That's right.
For things that have been gathered, the soil's been prepared and enriched, and the seeds have gone in, and into when the growing season really comes on, they'll just come up.
That's right. And in the meantime, you just wait.
Yeah, and the soil rests too.
That's right. It's a resting time. That's right.
Yeah.
We've become so out of sync with natural rhythms. And I think, these cycles of the planets and the sun and so on, really, if we begin to pay attention, we can really start to tune in and remember to try and get back to those natural rhythms. We've just become so disconnected. Yes, so Neptune and sensitivity, of course. People often find when Neptune energy is very present, oh, I'm so tired, I feel like I just want to cry, or I'm feeling so much grief or sorrow. We might be feeling the collective sorrow of the world. humanity, you know, can just feel over, or people are feeling despair. You know, so all of those things can come up. I think it's really healthy to sometimes give way to that, to surrender to that, to let ourselves feel all that and just go to bed and have a good weep if that's what's pulling you, you know. But just, as I've said before, sometimes you just want to plonk on the couch and watch a few movies and have a box of tissues near and have a few little weep, you know, whatever, you know, maybe a glass of wine, you know, it's that, just drop everything.
Yeah.
Even if it's for an hour. Okay, so so something very interesting is starting to unfold, and Venus is about to go into Leo. And I won't go into too much of the ins and outs of this astrologically, because as I was sort of preparing this to see what's coming up, I got curious about the fact that Venus and Mars will be in Leo together for a number of weeks. And I'm aware that there's a Venus-Mars conjunction coming up. Where did I write that down? On the 13th of July.
30th.
13th.
13th.
So, but then I went, okay, I know that those conjunctions in Venus and Mars happen roughly every 2 years. So I went into my astrology program and I thought, let's just actually check it. And I found something super interesting. Over the next 4 years or so, there's a very interesting dance going on between Venus and Mars. They're going to make, quite unusually, a series of conjunctions through the next few years, because Venus will go retrograde and Mars will go retrograde during that phase in these similar signs. So they're going to be doing this incredibly interesting dance. Normally, there's a conjunction and then Venus will pull away ahead because she moves more quickly, and Mars will come behind, and then there might be retrogrades, but they're not really still in relationship to each other. So Venus is the feminine. In very simple terms, you could say Venus is a woman, the goddess, the feminine, love, the heart. Mars is the masculine, man, the warrior, the principle of the warrior. So the masculine, feminine, man, woman principles, which we might, in a very simple way, see as man and woman, but I'm talking now about energies, you know, regardless of our gender identity, are doing this very interesting dance together for some years to come. So on the 27th, this is just after the full moon and Neptune still on that stationary turning retrograde, Venus, the goddess, the love principle, moves into Leo, the fire sign, which is all about, you know, the heart, passion, love, leadership, creativity, expression, joy, play, you know, Leo. Its colors, of course, are, you know, pink and gold and yellow and red, and its metal is literally gold, you know, Leo. So it's a bit like, you know, you can play around with these ideas in astrology. If you imagine the goddess as she moves through the different signs, she's going to change her costume. Leo, well, she's going to put on her beautiful cloak, her jewels, her crown. You know, this is Venus in Leo. And for those 4 weeks while she's in Leo, it's a wonderful time for us all to be getting creative, you know, get our creative juices flowing, experience the joy of just expressing ourselves, having a bit of fun, getting a bit social, being seen. You know, Leo is ruled by the sun. It's not meant to be hiding away. You know, it's meant to be on display, expressing, shining its light. So I think it's to me, Venus has got a lot to do with the love light of the heart, you know, the light in the heart. And in Leo, ruled by the sun, let's shine our light, you know, particularly the feminine from the heart. So I think that's That's a beautiful thing. I'm always a bit envious of people who've got Venus and Leo. I think it's a wonderful, because it's just so expressive and creative. And you'll find women, and some men too, absolutely, with Venus and Leo, they just might dress a bit flamboyantly, you know, very, very creative. They might love performing in various ways. Think of a little child, you know, just like dressing up for the family and putting on a little show.
Yes, yes.
That kind of thing. So it's a sign of passion. And when Mars is in Leo, because Mars is now in Leo and will be in Leo till the end of July. So they're both now in Leo.
Yeah.
So Mars is energy, masculine, action, direction, leadership, bam, you know, going into battle. And it's a fascinating thing that this conjunction is going to happen in the sign of Leo, because to me, one of the issues of Leo is about sovereignty. We think of Leo as the king, the queen, the archetypes of the king, the queen. So Venus in Leo is the queen, Mars in Leo would be the king, or at the very least, the warrior knight. And so when they come together, you know, it's just, as I say that, it's a bit like, you know, Lancelot and Guinevere, you know, it's that sort of grand.
I've got the image going on.
The image, exactly. You know, the whole kind of fairy story imagery of the fair princess and the knight who rescues her, and, you know, and they live happily ever after kind of thing. But I think on a deeper level for us all, it's got something to do with sovereignty. And I've been very interested in this word of late, and I'm coming across a few people speaking of it and what it actually means. And I like to look up words in dictionaries sometimes, like, what does this word actually mean? What does it tell us? And basically it's about, you know, acknowledging who I am. You know, Leo to me is, who am I? This is who I am. I am this. I am myself.
Yeah.
And I don't have to take my direction from something outside of me. It comes from inside of me. You know, the lion heart. Yeah. And so, and when we feel sovereign inside of ourselves, we're not beholden, we're not a slave to anybody else. We don't have to obey anybody else's dictates. We respond to what is true from inside.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of that going on at the moment. I think people are working that out.
That's right.
Do I want to do what I'm told by the authorities? Is it for my best interest? What's best for me?
That's right.
What choices I'm now going to make, you know.
That's right. Because we're actually born as free sovereign beings. But we forget that in this world, we're so programmed.
Yes.
Every step of the way.
Yeah.
To turn ourselves into something other than what we are. And then we all spend years and lifetimes trying to figure out who we are.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And that returning home to recognizing who we are is reclaiming sovereign. But we were always sovereign.
Yes, exactly.
We didn't know.
My mind is still on the weaving of the Mars and Venus.
Yes.
I'm thinking that's an interesting dynamic in regard to the world stage. It'd be interesting to know what countries would be involved in that have very strong Mars and Venus placements, but how that would affect the Mars dominance in the world. With the female energy coming in and saying, well, we're not going to have that, sorry. And they're saying, well, we want this. But they're softening it down. The female energy is softening that down, that so that there's more leadership from the heart is what I would hope that would bring.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's that true meeting, isn't it? It's like the true sacred marriage. And in fact, that's what I think every time we have a new moon, when the sun and the moon come together, it's the sacred marriage of the masculine and feminine. And when Venus and Mars come together, It is the sacred marriage, the true sacred marriage of the true masculine and feminine. Absolutely.
Mm.
And, you know, as you were saying that, it reminds me of a very famous painting by Botticelli, who I've often shown this on slides when I've been teaching and running workshops when I'm talking about Venus and or Mars. There's this painting of, you know, the classical mythology of Venus Aphrodite and Mars Ares, the god of war, because they were actually lovers in the myth. And, you know, she had many lovers because she's Venus, she's Aphrodite. But, you know, and he's always off to war and battle, and he's always dressed for battle. But there's this fantastic painting where they've just made love, you know, in a beautiful glade somewhere, in the forest somewhere. She's leaning up against the tree, just sort of looking absolutely beautiful, and all the little angels are sort of buzzing around and playing around. He is lying on the ground, naked, spent, sleeping, and all of his weaponry is just all over the ground, and the little cherubs are all playing with it.
Mm.
It's a beautiful depiction to me of Venus, love, woman, the heart, brings Mars back to his senses and arms him from just always being at war.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, that's, yes, it's this thing of, you know, we've heard those stories so often over the years of men in wartime, you know, First World War, Second, how important it was often to have a sweetheart or a wife at home that they could write to, that sense of there's something I'm fighting for that's waiting for me back home.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, that there's all of those themes. There's so many things we could say about it. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting thing. So on the 27th, Venus goes into Leo and adorns herself literally and or symbolically with her crown and her regal regalia. So, you know, I think we can all have a look at what that might mean for us, you know, in a literal sense or just as a metaphorical, energetic way.
Yes, I'm getting all sorts of images in my mind while you're talking about that. One is of a soul collage card that I actually made, where there's a woman dressed in all this adornment, and it's beautiful, and I'm just thinking, and she's in her power, and she's a sovereign. I'm just getting that sort of, you know, image coming to me, and I'm hoping that rises up in the male authorities and the female authorities, because you can get unbalanced working in a male world.
Yes.
So yeah, it would be nice to see that arise in the people who that it's important to arise in. Yeah, and have our best interests at heart.
That's right. And for good men,
Yes,
to stand up, you know, and declare themselves, you know, and take action and speak up. Many are, you know, on behalf of their loved ones, the people, and so on. So yeah. So it's a warm, you know, it's, you know, Venus, the heart in a fire sign, there's a warmth, you know, the flame of the heart. Okay, so Mars is in Leo on the 1st of July, going into the new financial year. Not that that's how I think of years, but it just struck me that, oh, that's the first of, you know, what we call the financial year.
yes, tax time.
So Mars in Leo will make an opposition to Saturn in Aquarius at 12 degrees. So, so, you know, for those couple of days, and specifically on the 1st, when Mars and Saturn come together, and an opposition is a fairly challenging aspect, things can get pretty strong and pretty intense. Can be very good for focused work and effort. But it can be a bit of a battle of wills going on between Mars and Leo and that Saturn. And then on the 4th, Mars will make a square to Uranus, because Saturn and Uranus are in a dynamic together, and Mars comes in, opposes one, then squares the other. So that first week of July will actually be quite strong. There can be a sense of battles of wills in the fixed signs. Yeah. Then around the 7th and 9th, Venus is coming in behind Mars now. She's moving quickly and coming in behind Mars, and she'll make an opposition to Saturn and then a square to Uranus. So literally the first 10 days of July, we're going to have Venus and Mars triggering that Saturn-Uranus square that's very strong at the moment. You know, pressure, a sense of pressure. And I think in terms of the Leo sovereignty, like when we're sovereign, we have to be responsible and make choices. We can't just leave it to somebody else to decide what to do or do it for us. You know?
Yes.
That's the thing. We have to make decisions, make choices, stand up for ourselves. So, but I think there's a lot of passion in here, and passion's important to me. You know, if we're passionate about something, which usually comes from the fire signs, you know, that flame of passion gets us moving, just makes us, inspires us, doesn't it, to make choices, to do things, to make things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say on that. I just get lots of imagery.
Yeah, great. Well, it's Leo, isn't it? That's right. You see it in images and pictures and picture form and colours. That's right. That's great. I'm loving it. Yeah, I can see you sort of things are happening.
Little,
but you know,
comment puffs of cloud puffs coming up.
Yes, but you're the fact that you've kind of brought that up and you mentioned collage before, it's kind of inspiring me to want to go, God, yes, I've got to get the paints out, you know, and get the canvas and start smashing colours around. And that's Leo, express it, wear it in our clothes, you know, get those warm, bright colours out, brighten up this grey winter sky, you know. Yes. I'm always very disheartened when you go into the shops in winter if you need any kind of clothing. It's all dark. I'm going, where's the hot pink? Where's the yellow?
Yes. It's not the colours that you need. It's actually the opposite, isn't it?
It's the opposite.
We're already there. We need balance, so we need a bit of colour and joy.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. Yep.
No.
That's right.
It's a European thing.
It's all dark red, dark blue, black, grey. That's it. Yeah. And, you know, for some, because Venus and Mars are the primary relationship planets, they are. You know, Liz Green wrote that great book called The Lovers of the Zodiac, and it was all about Mars and Venus. You know, in relationship astrology, we look to Venus to understand our primary desires and needs in relationship and our connection to the feminine, and Mars is the masculine. So for many people, this can be quite a strong time in their relationships, in their partnerships, because Venus and Mars are quite active now. Before they come together on, what did I say, on the 13th, they're both going to be making these oppositions to Saturn and squares to Uranus. So that can, you know, put a bit of pressure and tension on people's relationship dynamics. Yeah. And then when they finally come together, there's the possibility of some kind of resolution or meeting. And that could even be a meeting where two people maybe decide to separate. Or it could be that, okay, we've worked through all this stuff, let's come together now and kind of come to a new understanding.
So that's on the 13th of July?
That's the conjunction. Yeah, so that's just after the new moon.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So when Venus and Mars are active or being activated in our own chart, you know, it can absolutely be playing out also in relationship dynamics for sure.
Yeah.
And that includes not only in man-woman relationships, same-sex relationships as well. There's always masculine, feminine energies at play.
Yeah, in all
Any
of us.
relationship.
Yeah, definitely in all of us. And I guess that you could have an inner war with yourself, couldn't you? Inner conflict with those.
Definitely.
Mm.
I mean, I can relate to that. I have in my own chart, Venus and Mars are squaring each other. So I have that going on inside of me.
Ah.
And I can see it. I can recognize when my Venus is active and when my Mars is active.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
Mm.
interesting.
Mm.
Ah, well, that's another huge amount to digest.
I know. There's always a lot going on.
Yeah, another interesting couple of weeks with before we have the new moon. What's the new moon in again? I
The new
forgot.
moon's in Cancer. It'll be at 18 degrees of Cancer.
Ah, yes, yeah. Interesting.
So yes, um, so the sun's in Cancer, but there's quite a lot going on with Venus, with Leo, and then of course the following month when the sun comes out of Cancer, yeah, she will go in. I lost the zodiac there for a minute. It will go into Leo, so there'll be more Leo energy. So yeah, Cancer, sun's in Cancer, nurturing,
Yeah, yeah.
nesting.
I think I need a bit of that right now. I think I'm going to go and offer to myself with a nice hot chocolate.
I know, nice cup of tea and a bicky or something, whatever is the thing. I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I mean, it's really interesting to put these things down in their diary and look at the days and as those things come up and see, because I go back and I go, wait a minute, didn't blah 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 happen? Oh yeah, go and look at my diary and there it is,
That's right.
Yeah, and I go, wow, it's just so amazing because it's every time I do that, it impresses upon me the power of the effects of the planets,
That's right. That's right. And we're all energetic beings and everything's resonating and, with everything. That's
Yeah,
right. We're
yeah,
not separate from any of that.
yeah. It's a big. It's like taking off the back of a watch of the old watches, and you see all the cogs
Wow.
turning, just like that.
Yes.
Fascinating.
It is. So, and no day's the same, because, there might have been the same Venus and Mars conjunction decades ago, but all the other planets would have been different. So it's
Right.
always different. Always.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, Babula. Thank you very much for your knowledge, sharing your knowledge with everybody. It was fascinating how it all plays out. And anyone who wants to have a reading with Babula, you can go to her website, which is to contact her.
It's babulaclement.com.
There you go. It's so easy. So easy. So send her an email, or I'm guessing you've got your phone number on there.
Yes.
Yep.
No, actually, I don't put my contact details on the website, but people can send me a message.
Yeah, yeah.
And it'll come into my email. That's right.
Terrific. Yeah, great. Okay, well, until next time, the next lunar cycle,
Yes.
we hope you're well and get some rest and some
Yes.
nurturing.
Yes.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye, everyone.